Please bear with me. I never imagined in any space of time that I would find myself speaking of my husband, Jeff Watts, in the past tense. At least, not this soon. He's been gone 7 months already. However, here I am, in a foreign, an unexpected ephemeral moment, but it is an incredible occasion that actually begins an annual event for years to come. Jeff will live on at Deer Park longer than any of us will even exist. Now, before presenting the new Perseverance Award to the chosen 8th grader, I want to share about Jeff, our lives together, and the meaning of perseverance. According to the Merriam-Webster Dictionary, perseverance is the continued effort to do or to achieve something despite difficulties, failures, or opposition. It is to be steadfast. It is gazing at the tallest mountain's precipice and stating that come hell or high water, you will climb to its majestic peak. And in fact, not only will you climb to the top, you will continue the journey and keep going. That is the picture of us. Jeff was a distinguished, hand-hewed yacht, gliding through the deepest, adventurous waters on the planet, captain of all he saw. If anything got in the way, he found a creative way around it. He was just like that. In fact, it is a trait that he and I shared, marveled and loved about each other. The biggest difference between the two of us was that he felt that he had something to prove to others, while I simply do things to prove whatever it might be to myself. Yet his life was a metaphor for perseverance. You should know that this tale that I'm going to share is going to get a little dark before it gets light. But the light will come. It always comes. Jeff's childhood was fraught with abuse of all types. Several foster homes, multiple schools, and the concept that love had to be earned and was not freely given. Funnily enough, the first time that he felt the freely given love of a teacher was from a redheaded librarian in the 4th grade, who welcomed him warts and all when he was continuously kicked out of his classroom. He was quite a wild child. She opened his soul to adventure and possibility, and it was one of his favorite childhood memories to share. He eventually made it back into his mother's home. They skipped around a few more states before finally making it back to his home state of Missouri. He worked the watermelon and cotton fields, and he helped local farmers. And one afternoon, without any warning, they moved one more time to the Indiana-Kentucky line where I grew up, where the Midwest kisses the South. He continued his short journey of academics, but in all honesty, his heart was not in it, and he dropped out of school at age 14 years old, after severely injuring his knee in a high school football game in his 9th grade year. He shared that he went from 0 to hero back to a 0 quickly during that school year. His mother was dirt poor, and her education didn't go above the 8th grade either, and she was only interested in him finding work to support them. However, when she learned that his earnings would interfere with her disability payments, she kicked him out at 14. However, that didn't stop Jeff. He worked under painters, masons, drywallers, electricians, architects, and many other masters of the trade, and he would learn their trade exceptionally well, and then move on to the next one, as he always hungered for more. During these years, the military crossed his travels, so he completed his GED, enlisted in the Army, wanting to drive a tank and see the world for free. During his enlistment, he learned that he had a natural talent for learning languages and for teaching, along with getting into mischief. However, he participated in all kinds of maneuvers and training, and the Navy took notice of him. They approached him, enlisted him, and he became a Seabee. He served in several skirmishes and wars, was an SMI, which is a specialized military instructor, and performed classified duties, achieving the rank of staff sergeant. Life marched on. He was married, had 2 beautiful sons, was a minister, retired from the Navy, divorced, worked for a huge TV station, carried on living life, took care of his ailing mother, who had a major stroke until her death, married me and adopted my son. During this time, he discovered his passion for working with children. He became a CASA representative working with children in the court system. He also volunteered at the Red Cross and was in charge of major crisis assistant and liaison with FEMA. The list goes on and on. He was interested in everything. There's a whole lot of life left in these few sentences. But obviously we can't explore every nuance of his existence. We'd be here forever. Just know that he fought the good fight each and every day. He was a man of deep faith and his passions were wide and varied. Let's flash forward to how he became a part of Montana's majestic, monumental, and marvelous mountainous region. The building and construction economy was crashing in Kentucky. And Jeff was floundering for work while the two of us both were in college and working or trying to. Anyway, he was in the criminal justice program at Indiana University Southeast and asked me to apply for him to different states for positions that he could do. I did exactly that, and the first one to respond was the Treasure State. We moved sight unseen almost 2,000 miles so that Jeff could have a solid paying job with benefits. Even though it meant putting his college on hold until he could enroll somewhere, Jeff became a prison guard, was quickly promoted to the prison sort team, which is like a SWAT team, and then worked with the U.S. Marshals in transporting prisoners. Finally, he became the vocational rehabilitation instructor and teaching them carpentry skills to reduce recidivism. Jeff loved two things in life, apart from talking, of course, and that was helping others and teaching. It didn't matter what happened in his life. He wanted to give, to help, and rise above the nightmare he called his childhood. During these 2 years on the plains side of Montana, Jeff had a stroke, and it was debilitating. Here we were in a state, thousands of miles from family and friends, and utter tragedy strikes. He had to relearn to walk, to talk, to sing, and just function. He wanted to give up so many times, I refused to let him. It took over a solid year for him to regain most of his abilities and to return to work. Difficult does not do the experience justice. The two of us spent hours and days and weeks just relearning our roles towards each other. Yet we persevered. Thank God teaching positions were opening up in the flathead, as I needed the trees and the mountains to surround and uphold us. We felt naked on the plains. Sorry, plains people. We moved, yet his health continued to be rocky, and honestly, he would never be the same. He was afraid, which was new for him. After all, a stroke brought his mama down, and then her second one took her to be with Jesus. Yet he continued. I continued. He was no longer able to captain his own ship, let alone to be an adventurer on his own yacht. I became his sail, his boat, and his rudder. Nevertheless, I reminded him of who he was every day and who he wanted to be. I refused to allow him the option of giving up. He continued to attend college online, even though it was twice as hard since the stroke, probably harder. He worked in the school systems, finding joys in the students' smiles, your smiles, lives, and their aha moments. He heard from those who he saw flashes of himself in. He gathered those near who he believed needed a father figure in their lives, especially since he never had one. Finally, the day came when he joined the Deer Park family. He started off teaching the math with the idea that he would finally complete his degree, but it remained an unrealized dream. But he happily became the support for math, which he embraced with his heart and soul. And behind the scenes, issues continued happening with his health. He was hospitalized several times for many different reasons. There were a couple of mini strokes, and then he developed a terrible case of COVID, which we now know attacks the areas in our bodies and minds that already have weaknesses, and it caused more damage to his brain and body. Yet he tried to persevere through it all. He never wanted it to be evident to others. He just wanted the kids to know that they were cared for, loved, accepted, listened to, and have the knowledge that they could do anything, go anywhere, meet anybody, and create whatever their hearts desired. Look what little he started with. And just because he persevered through one transgression after another is why I am standing here today in front of you. I'll let that sink in for just a moment. Without him, I would never have come to this beautiful place and stood in this moment in time with you. I would never have been your librarian. I would never have come to love and know all y'all. I am honored and privileged to have been this great man's wife through sickness and health until death parted us. You may say, what makes him so great? Or what is greatness? When I think of the word and I look back at the annals of history and I think of the two people, Alexander the Great and Catherine the Great. And funnily enough, after studying their lives, they would agree with Jeff and say, there is absolutely nothing great about any of us. We don't deserve that title. He'd definitely say, laugh and say, I'm just an old country boy. That true greatness is found in humility, the worm's growth, and shining light on others. Well, I say he's done that in full. So, without further ado, for the student who I pray never has to walk in Mr. Watts' shoes per se, but does continue his giving, thoughtful, and dedicated journey onward of perseverance in the face of adversity. I hope that this young man sees that every smile he gives and shines is another way of showing perseverance. It is giving joy in the face of adversity. With every greeting he expresses when he notices others, regardless of how he feels, he demonstrates the deepest level of compassion and empathy, persevering through his own hurts to help others. I personally have felt this young man's kindness. He is true, loyal, and unswerving through his own hurts to help others, which can be difficult and trying. In fact, standing up to one's friends is harder than standing up to a foe. I have great respect for this young man and already having developed the bedrock of this quality. Not only does he have a kind heart, is faithful to share his smiles and kindness, but he has also faced some serious adversity in the last 2 years. He and his own family have had a house fire, which is frightening and devastating regardless of who you are or your age. I know. However, when I talked with him after that, his concerns centered around his siblings and his mother and sharing how they were making it and how it would be all right. His attitude is always positive, which is today rare in today's society. He kept marching on, focusing on moving forward, even spending some time with Jeff, Mr. Watts, out on the playground last year, talking about it all. He was special to Mr. Watts, as each of them are. In his classes, he has truly tried, giving his best each day. He has never turned in late work, not even after his house fire. His teachers shared that he never allowed his trials to interfere with his duties as a student. If he received a grade that he did not like, then he would ask what he could do to bring it up. Doing well just means that you try, that you keep trying, and that you simply do not give up, no matter what. It is the definition of perseverance and being steadfast. So, please welcome Andrew McGinty. Enduring that with me. And if you will please warmly welcome Taylor Green to the microphone.